one of the things I really value with anybody are their last words. What's the last word? What's the final comment? And Jesus' appearance stories following his resurrection, one of his last comments with his disciples was to cast their nets. In casting our nets, we're putting ourselves in a place where Jesus wants us to be. And Jesus is going to handle that. Jesus is going to manage what happens from that and the results of that. But it's a great act of faithfulness because we don't know what's going to happen. But we still step out in faith to do that. So casting our nets is all about doing what Jesus said and going places where Jesus puts us that we didn't expect to be, and engaging with people that we didn't expect to engage with. Again, not our own strategy, but just responding to that call and seeing what Jesus does with it.
Prior to them being involved in like the breakfast with the community, we might see someone at the CUPE or something, and they might not, you would just kind of, for lack of a better term, kind of blow that person off, and you would not pay them the time of day. Whereas oftentimes we've been at the CUPE, especially, it seems like that would be the place where it's happened most often, and we'll run into someone that we see downstairs, and they'll point out, hey, we know that guy, and then they'll actually see us, and sometimes we wave, and sometimes we'll speak and have a small conversation of some sort, which, again, it's a small thing for us to do, but that might pick up that person's day, make them have a feel better, or just a smile can go a long way, and it's just that's the service that we do in the basement of the church that I think that it spreads out into the community at various occasions. I
am so proud to be involved in this equestrian therapy program. The reason I got involved with this is the first time I started the class, they might be disabled and handicapped, but they taught me. I didn't teach them anything. They taught me to respect them. And that's why. My calling, God gave me a talent. And that's why I wanted to help these children. I get very emotional about it because I just love them so much. And that's why I volunteer for the equestrian therapy program.
We're all gifted with different kinds of talents and treasures within us that are waiting to be discovered. And sometimes some of those things we learn about ourselves when we're younger, and some of those we don't learn about ourselves till we're older.
I've always had a desire to work with my hands. Growing up, Mom used to always give me the dead appliances, and I'd usually fix them, actually, rather than just tear them apart. Watches, she gave me watches, and I'd tear those apart. I didn't fix them, I just tore them apart. And then, so I got to the point where I had a good feel for mechanical systems and how things work and how things go together, and it just felt right to use my hands to do things, to fix things, to build things, to, whatever with things. And so when Journey of Faith came around, I think some of my gifts, I can't remember all my gifts, but one of them was generosity, and that doesn't necessarily mean generosity with your money. It can be with your time and with your skills. And so, I have always tried to be generous with my skills. And at one time, I said I had the handyman gift, which Bill Croy at the time corrected me and said that's craftsmanship. Actually, I think it's handyman gift. Actually, it's maybe less crafty and less professional, but still, I feel like I can do a lot, and so I do a lot.
As far as I'm concerned, the way I look at it, I don't think, as long as you're able to do something, able to help, you should do it. Besides that, it keeps your thoughts off your own Yeah, if I walked around moping around at 80 years old, you know, and 90 years old, and it's time to retire and all that stuff. But I like to keep active. It keeps my mind off everything.
Well, I think so often in people's lives they're looking for ways to fulfill themselves. You know, you might keep changing jobs, or you might keep, you know, trying to meet new people in different ways. And I think that if you just start to serve others, that the Lord will come back to you and fill that hole that you're feeling. And I just, it's been wonderful for us. And I know it's not a lot of work. It's not like we do anything. We just come here and we serve breakfast. But it's very enjoyable, and you really, really, really will get so much more out of it than what you give. Really, it's an hour of your time, and it's just been great. I mean, we work with wonderful people that we never would have interacted with before, and we've learned so much. We've basically become our Sunday morning family. You know, we know about their kids and their grandkids, and you know, the people that come in for breakfast, we now know their families, and it's really been great.
All of that is God helping us to live out the life that God intends us to live. And when we do that, that's yet another great source of joy for us.
It makes me feel good to help others, to know that maybe somebody has listened to what I've said or what I've taught, or somebody has just the simplicity of, like I said, opening a door for somebody.
I think it's just the giving back to the community and to our church, and be a helping hand. And I enjoy just saying God bless to people.
Singing in the choir, really, there was a time when I wasn't singing in the choir and I was sitting in the congregation, and I get so much more out of the service and feel so much more connected through my singing in the choir.
I know in my life some of the bigger things that I've done that I've set as a goal for myself in my life. I've realized that if I just kept it to myself, that I might not as likely do it. But if I shared it with somebody else, if I did some kind of expression of commitment, then I was much more likely to carry it out. And so I think that our discipleship commitments, when we fill out a card, when we sign our names to something, it's a tangible act that takes us one step further toward actually doing what we feel God has called us to do.
Well, when people get their packet, I mean, it's important for them, first of all, to pray about what is being offered. It's the opportunity to utilize the gifts that we all have, and they're all individual to us. God has granted those to us, and so we should take that serious and understanding what our gifts are, and then trying to match those with the needs of the church. And the church is just not the building. It's the church is also the community. And we have a responsibility, I believe, that we should utilize those interests, the skill sets that God has granted us to serve Him. And if we don't, then there will be a void in us. By fulfilling that need that we have to serve. And I believe everybody has that desire, that God has given us that urge to serve. By filling that, I think then we help fulfill that need that's all within us to serve.
Try, and just keep trying. You'll find your niche eventually, and serve. Serve in some way, be it small, be it large. And if one line of service doesn't necessarily work for you, try something else. You'll find where you're supposed to be, and God will lead you there.
I tell people this every day, that I really think God takes you where you need to be. I mean, if you look at my profession, I'm a pharmacist at a health center, and you often think, how in the world did you ever get there? And I actually worked a typical route in a community pharmacy, but then I went to prison work, and I worked at a pharmacy in a prison, which is not something typical. And then, I left there on a whim and got a random phone call to come and help out this other place that was just trying to start up. And I think, wow, what a gift to me that I could serve in such a place that does such great things.
Into the deep water is really a great act of trust, but it's in the great act of trusts that we see God doing really great things.
It's just something that I cannot not do. I just want to be here to welcome people, and if we can give them some clothes and something to eat, that's what we're here for.
Taking care of the people, helping them out, it gives you a good feeling.
Why do I there?
Because I have fun doing it.
Lord didn't come to be served. He came to serve people, so we follow his example.
There are ways to do service that you cannot even imagine. And so don't be afraid to cast your net and move forward with maybe a challenge or an idea of a ministry work that you might want to do.